So Manu Raju on CNN says Manchin told me that won't happen. When asked about Pelosi saying there needs to be a deal on legislative language with the White House on reconciliation to get progressives to support infrastructure tomorrow. No one's been negotiating against along those lines with other parties here. Also from Manu Raju, talks are underway among top senators to avoid a potential lapse in funding for the highway programs at risk of expiring Friday if the infrastructure bill hasn't passed. In other words, Nancy Pelosi, and David Dayen pointed it out quite well in his American Prospect piece, has been lying, saying that we need to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Otherwise, the highway programs expire on Friday. There are other ways in which to pass the highway programs, like by just passing the highway programs. And apparently, talks are underway among top senators to avoid a potential lapse in that funding. Senators Capito and Carper are talking a short-term extension potentially into October or even December. So they're trying to line up all these things and give a little more time for the reconciliation bill to either happen or not. I wonder if there's going to be a vote tomorrow.
I don't think so. That's my prediction. I'd be surprised. Pelosi's not going to bring it up. If she did, as I mentioned earlier, I would have a lot of concerns about what that sets up progressives as in terms of the villains that the media is going to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She would alienate 40 or 50 members of her caucus, and I don't know if that's a really smart thing to do.
Yeah, and in like the New York Times, I think, or maybe the Washington Post was reporting that certain industry groups are pushing moderate Republicans to vote for and commit to voting for the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which would actually kill the end, but they won't do it. They can't get out of their own way with their extremism. But that would be. I don't
think Pelosi wants to bring that up either, to be honest with you.
I don't think
she wants to win that with Republican votes. That's going to make her look even worse.
Yeah.
If she brings it up for a vote and it goes down, I think she needs a better excuse than the members of her caucus. Because the question is like, why would you bring that up if you knew it was going to fail?
Right.
It is only to make the point that we had a deal and we need to do that. So Oliver Wendell home slice. The Dems are being held hostage by the debt ceiling, and the filibuster is like some kid terrified to get off the couch because his big brother told him the floor is lava. Indeed. Left-handed stranger. Well, the interesting thing is that I think for a long time, and on Friday, we'll have Ryan Grimm on the program. Get his sense of this because he's talking to some of those people there. I think when you get into like a calculus like this, there's always a presumption that the progressives are going to cave because they'll take half a sandwich before they reject they will take the half a sandwich if if that's all they can get because they want to feed people. But after a while, if you always are going to take that half a sandwich, the people negotiating with you just start offering at a half a sandwich, and then they get you down to a quarter of a sandwich. In this instance, I think this is going to have long-term benefit. We'll also, I don't know. It also occurs to me that, like, let's just imagine a different scenario. 9 months ago, they held up the vote for who the leadership was going to be, ostensibly to get a vote on something that they knew they were going to lose 300 to 120, let's say. And they get reamed for holding that up and holding up the COVID bill. They've set the legislative agenda back. Never mind, January 6th. No one could have known about that, but that would have been also a crap show. Imagine how timid they would be after taking that beating in this instance. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, we know going into, as of last summer, when I spoke to AOC on this program. She said Jayapal was starting to sort of like boil down the Progressive Caucus. One leader, not two, going to start to have like a little internal pressure so that they can actually vote as a bloc. So this, I don't think they understood when they would deploy it, but this power was building. The ability for them to be cohesive and have and move as a bloc. So this
and I want to note too that the change in leadership with Jayapal being the sole leader of the Progressive Caucus in the House, I think that also has made a bit of a difference.
Definitely, you have much more room to operate,
and you
can be quicker.
Pocan, I don't think was as willing to play hardball from my read on things.
I think you're right about that too. Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.